All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's a Wednesday night hump day extravaganza. As always, welcome to the show, everybody. Hope you're having a great week. We're at the halfway point for all of you, those of you trudging through the Monday through Friday thing, and hope your week is going good. Thank you so much for spending part of your time with us here on the portal. We got 2 full hours ahead of us, so lots of excitement ahead. So I hope you guys are in for a good journey. I hope to give you a good journey, but we're going to do our best. And I'm not alone here, folks. I am joined by my right-hand man, the big toe of the Paranormal Portal, Mr. Don Longbeard.
You know, sometimes I think back and I go, where did that name come from? And then I realize it's when I broke my little toe that you started calling me the big toe.
We kind of got on the toes, didn't we?
Yeah.
You started the toe thing.
Yeah, well, that little piggy stayed at the market because that freaking hurt.
You remember the movie Stripes? Where Bill Murray calls Sergeant Hulka the big toe?
No, we should not.
Yeah, so.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of, but it was the toe thing that when you actually shattered your toe that kind of brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was toe jammed.
Yeah. Almost back to your heel by the looks of it.
Yeah, kind of felt like it too.
All right, folks. So we have a lot of things to get through, but before we go any further, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of the Paranormal Portal. Of course, I'm talking about Cryptid Coin. And if you're not familiar with Cryptid Coin, they are a newer cryptocurrency that has its heart in cryptid research and investigation, and it's a fascinating thing. I think that cryptocurrencies in general are becoming a real plausible option for a lot of people looking for investments that are away from the fiat currencies and all of the troubles they're in. Now, I know any investment is it's a juggle and you just don't know what you're going to get, but I was really excited about this one, and I am actually an investor myself. So I hope you guys will check it out. If you're looking for more information, please head over to cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io for more information. Is now available on PancakeSwap, so it makes getting involved even easier. So check them out. Special thanks to Cryptid Coin for being a part of the Paranormal Portal. And Don?
Yeah, there.
How about some news?
Some news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's head over to the news desk and just see what the hell's going on in the world today. Don, did you know we're the most trusted news? What is that on the screen?
Well, that's because our friend Wes said so.
Yeah, Wes said so, ladies and gentlemen. That transition was done by our good friend, Mr. Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles. Thank you again for that, Wes. And I did meter it down. I remembered after I launched it that I got an email from someone going, please. Because apparently the way I had it metered in the mix, it was really loud. So I apologize it started out loud, but I did meter it down because I remembered ooh. So it should be a little more, a little less in your face. So anyway,
it just
welcome.
Needs to be in your ear.
In your ear. But welcome to the news desk, everybody. And this is the place where we talk about paranormal news and generally lots of different news. But I've curated a bunch of articles for your viewing and listening pleasure. Hopefully you enjoy them. If not, then just remember you get what you paid for. All right, the first article up in our newscast for the night. Here, let me move this over. I forgot about this. Hold on.
There you go.
I got things all over the place, folks. You wouldn't believe the tab farm that I got cooking here. Don is absolutely marvels at my tab farm. Right, Don? You got farm envy?
No, I do not live in that particular place.
Well, there you go. This is, of course, from unexplained-mysteries.com. And the first article tonight we're going to go over is a rare white alligator hatches at a reptile park in Florida. And I don't know. I don't know what the odds are that this happens or if it even is anything, really noteworthy, because I'm sure on alligator farms they probably get them once in a while. But albinoism is not, it's all of nature. It's just a genetic possibility. But I don't know if it has any symbol like the white buffalo does for the First Nations or something, but apparently a white alligator was born, so that's kind of neat. The tiny reptile, which has a rather unique pigmentation, is not the only albino alligator at the park. There you go. See, I didn't even know that, but
There you go.
apparently it happens a little more often in a farm situation. Albinism, which occurs due to congenital absence of pigmentation, causes a distinct white or pink coloration that is quite rare in the animal kingdom. To see a whole family of white alligators or animals is particularly unusual, which is why this latest arrival at the Wild Florida Airboats and Gator Park in Kenansville, Florida, is so special. The tiny white alligator, which appears to be healthy, hatched out to parents which are themselves albino, and this is the third alligator hatchling in 3 years affected with the condition. The park prides itself on being the only one in the world to successfully breed albino alligators. Some more photographs of the new arrival can be viewed below. There you go. It's actually kind of pretty, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they're actually pretty nice.
I mean, it's got a really cool pigmentation pattern.
It's kind of like it almost glows. So.
Right, yeah. You'd almost expect it to like have a nightlight buried in it somewhere. You just plug it in.
There you go.
So, well, there you go. There's a little albino alligator now in Florida, which is one of the offspring of albino alligators. So
Did
I
they
guess
say how many they actually have, or
no,
they're just famous for having them?
I thought they said that it appears to be healthy. Successfully breed albino alligators.
Well,
I don't know. It doesn't tell me how many they had, but I thought it said this is like the third. I might be wrong though.
You'd have to have 2 to breed one. So
Yeah, so I guess there's your third right there. So interestingly enough, with basic math, we can deduce that there possibly are 3. Welcome to the show, folks. It only gets better from here. We do basic math. So that's the first article up on the board tonight for the Paranormal Portal news. The next one is also coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this was one Android Purity actually messaged me earlier today, and I think this is the same thing. And I'll pull up that article, and we might go over that a little bit later as well. But this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Loch Ness Monster plausible after fossil discovery.
Huh.
There you go. The discovery that some plesiosaurs could have lived in fresh water has reignited the debate on Nessie. Ooh, cool. So they weren't necessarily saltwater animals.
Oh, well.
The quintessential Loch Ness Monster sighting is typical of that large, long-necked creature that appears as a head and neck or a series of humps protruding from the water.
What's a long neck?
Yeah. Over the years, this has led some to speculate that the creature could be a plesiosaur, a type of prehistoric aquatic reptile, as depicted by an oft-photographed model that can be found outside the Loch Ness Exhibition Center at Drumnadroch. I think that's right. Sorry.
I think it's wrong, but that's
Either that or I.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. So, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce Scottish words very well, but on the western shore of the loch. While many have played down the possibility, not least because plesiosaurs died out millions of years ago and lived in the ocean, a new fossil discovery has recently added some renewed credence to the theory by suggesting that plesiosaurs actually did live in freshwater. Researchers at the University of Bath recently discovered... What?
Water, bath, makes sense.
Researchers at the University of Bath recently discovered the fossil remains of several small plesiosaurs that lived in a river system 100 million years ago in what is now the Sahara. Oh my God. Yeah, I guess there was rivers. The find indicates that these creatures lived in freshwater alongside crocodiles, fish, turtles, and dozens of other species. We don't really know why the plesiosaurs are in fresh water, said study co-author Dr. Nick Longrich. It's a bit controversial, but who's to say that because we paleontologists have always called them marine reptiles, they had to live in the sea. Lots of marine lineages invaded fresh water, but does this mean that the Loch Ness Monster could be a plesiosaur? Probably not, but it doesn't prove that it isn't. Well, there you go. I think that's actually pretty brilliant.
I think it's pretty short-sighted, though, to think that they can only be saltwater animals.
Sure.
Because we have freshwater dolphins, sturgeons, and all kinds of salmon run from the saltwater, the ocean, to their freshwater hatcheries. Hatcheries. So I mean, it's not that hard to figure that they may have lived in freshwater. There's freshwater crocodiles.
Right, and there's
saltwater crocodiles.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
So, whatever.
Well, and I think these things breathed air, though, didn't they? I mean, they didn't have gills.
No, yeah,
I don't believe.
They just hold their they just hold their breath for a really
long time. Yeah. So, I don't imagine it matters a lot as long as it's some kind of water. But I guess there's way too much that I don't know about this to have any kind of.
There's way too much that everybody doesn't know, including the experts.
Yeah, well, there you go, experts, quote unquote. But it's interesting because it does raise the possibility that, look, these things were existing in freshwater as well, which does put them in the possibility of living in the loch.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. So who knows? I mean, there's Lake Champlain, there's the Ponderay Paddler out here. Yep. There's Pepe, and there's a bunch of lake monsters allegedly all over. So could these be surviving members of the plesiosaurs that had allegedly died out?
Absolutely.
Maybe they're distributed all over still, but in very limited breeding populations or whatever.
Quantities, yeah. Exactly,
yeah. Obviously, they're not taking over these bodies of water.
I would have to say they would at least fit in the endangered species list, Just saying.
Well, I'm glad they were able to add that to the fossil record now. Because
they put big. Some states have Bigfoot on the protected status.
Yes,
so,
that's true. Why not? Some countries as well. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Could be a plesiosaur because now they know that they lived in freshwater as well, or at least some version of them did. So. I think that's pretty cool.
A plesiosaur.
Pleasing mesaur?
Plesiosaur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one. I don't know if this is relevant or not. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Apparently, there was some kind of ongoing debate about this.
Bobby, not Booby.
Bobby, yeah.
Sorry.
Jeez, can't take you anywhere. This is coming, looks like out of England, but from unexplained-mysteries.com. Greyfriars Bobby mystery has finally been solved. And the precise breed of the famous dog immortalized as a statue in Edinburgh has finally been determined. This heartwarming true story, which has since been the subject of several books and a movie, dates back to the 19th century when a small dog spent 14 years guarding the grave of his deceased owner, John Gray, at Greyfriars Cemetery in Edinburgh, Scotland. Okay. The dog would go on to become a local celebrity, and upon his death, a statue was erected to commemorate his vigil.
14 years.
14 years. Wow. That's a loyal dog. Even today, both the statue and the cemetery remain popular tourist attractions. One aspect of the story did remain unsolved, however. While the dog was long thought to be a Skye Terrier, more recently this assumption has been called into question. Now, though, researchers have finally been able to solve this mystery once and for all by revealing that the dog was in fact a lesser-known Dandy Dinmont Terrier. At the time, they argue Skye Terriers were mostly only found in the distant Isle of Skye, whereas Dandy Dinmont Terriers were quite commonplace in Edinburgh. The dog was also described at the time as a Scotch Terrier, a term often used to refer to Dandy Dinmont Terriers. The more I researched him for our book, the facts led to only one conclusion, that Greyfriars Bobby had to be a Dandy Dinmont Terrier, said researcher and author Mike Macbeth. I didn't know this question was out there, but nice job closing the book on it. Thank you, because he's an author.
Oh, boy.
No? Nothing? All right.
Oh, boy.
Whatever. You know, when I try, nobody appreciates it. When I do it without trying, it's funny. What the hell? All right, so there you go.
It's funnier when you don't know you're being funny. It's just funnier. I'm sorry.
Don, did you hear about the new proposed Tower of Babel?
Oh, no.
Well, I don't know if this is really a Tower of Babel, but it's going to be a hell of a job to put something together that could be a huge living area for people. And this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is a $1 trillion, 75-mile-long skyscraper. Could house 5 million people in a 75-mile spread. Wow.
So that sounds like a Judge Dredd thing.
Yeah, it kind of does. Saudi Arabia has unveiled plans for a remarkable construction project far beyond the scale of anything seen before. The Middle East certainly doesn't shy away from building things big. The Burj Khalifa, for instance, is the tallest building in the world, standing over Dubai at an incredible 2,717 feet in height. Wow, we're only at 2,500 here. That's crazy. Now Saudi Arabia has revealed plans for something even more audacious. A horizontal skyscraper consisting of two 1,600-foot buildings that's taller than the Empire State Building, running parallel to one another for 75 consecutive miles, and with a population exceeding that of a small country. This incredible structure, which would cost over $1 trillion, would essentially be a self-contained city complete with transportation network. That came out a lot more awkward than I meant. Greenhouses for growing food, shops, houses, parks, recreational facilities, and everything else needed to live and work there. Known as the Mirror Line, the proposed building will stretch from the Gulf of Aqaba through a mountain range and out into the desert. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman reportedly wants this enormous project to be completed by 2030. Wow. However, experts have suggested it would actually take up to 50 years to build.
Yeah, settle down there.
Suffice to say, don't place any bets on this one ever becoming a reality.
So it's gonna run that long, and then how high? How high are they gonna be?
What did they say? It's 1,600 foot tall. So 1,600 feet taller than the Empire State Building.
It's gonna run
just going for how many miles? 75 miles.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of project.
Why?
I guess
That's like building a giant frickin' wall.
I don't know why they just don't float.
That's a big wall.
Yeah, it kind of is. It just divides the country, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's the people that don't get to live there? Where do they get to go?
Who are the people in that neighborhood?
I know. It's almost like a Dr. Seuss book.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Wow.
A sneetch from the east and a sneetch from the west.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
They have no stars upon theirs.
Yeah. It's a wall.
I don't know.
It's a wall you can live in.
Well, it sounds like a hell of a wall, though. I'll give them that. I mean, there is. Sure. This is a pretty ambitious thing, but I guess.
How are they getting the land to build on? It's desert.
Yeah, yeah. There probably isn't a lot of competition over that land, traditionally speaking. That's crazy. It'll go from the ocean, or the whatever bay or whatever, all the way in through the mountains and into a desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got a place for everyone, I guess. It'll house.
I am the law.
5 million people. But there you go. I guess when you got a lot of money and you want to leave a footprint, that's probably a big footprint to leave. I mean, if they can accomplish that, that'd be pretty phenomenal. I bet what'll happen is it'll probably end up being like, what did they say, 75 miles? It'll probably start out as like a mile long, and they'll just do it in phases.
Yeah, I got an idea.
Huh?
Why don't they just come over and build the wall?
Come on. Jeez. All right, so let's continue on in our newscast here.
And it's cheaper than
next
helping out
up
Ukraine.
On the Portal podcast, or Portal newscast rather, is from unexplained-mysteries.com.
That's interesting.
This one is kind of interesting, and we're kind of into albinism tonight, but this one is a very rare white humpback whale found washed up on the beach. It's not a sperm whale like Moby Dick, but it's a big humpback whale, all white though. Experts have been attempting to determine what gave the unusual unusual ocean-dwelling giant its distinct coloration. I would think maybe no pigmentation, but anyway. Discovered by kayaker Peter Coles on the beach near Malakuta in Victoria, Australia, the dead whale measured approximately 33 feet in length and is believed to be a juvenile female.
That sucks.
Aw. White whales are incredibly rare, meaning that any sightings of such a creature are noteworthy. There had been concerns that this particular individual might be Migaloo, a famous white whale first sighted off the coast of Australia back in 1991. However, given its size and gender, it's highly unlikely that the newfound whale is the same animal. While white coloration like this is usually down to a condition known as albinism, experts believe that this particular whale may have been afflicted with a different, though similar, genetic condition known as leucism, which impacts the production of melanin in individual cells. As things stand, it remains unclear exactly how the whale died. However, the most likely explanation is it was struck by a boat. We were unable to see the upper side of the body, and if it has been hit by a ship, there would probably be scarring and damage in the upper side of the body, said marine ecologist Wally Franklin. Oh. Well, that's pretty wild, but
crazy.
I don't know what's. I guess it's kind of like hitting an iceberg, though, isn't it? I mean, it's a white whale.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the ship made it. If that's the case, I guess it's belly up in this photo. Then, yeah. This is the underside.
Most fish that die are belly up.
Right.
But that's not a fish. Though.
These are mammals, but
fish,
same concept. Yeah, things tend to float belly up.
Oh, my goodness, Wonder Woman, no.
What? Do I want to know?
No, let's just leave it where it is.
All right. All right, let's go to the next one. And this is another from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is a lost boy. This is from the archives. This one goes back a ways. This is from 2012. Very interesting story. I've had this one open for a while now. But it's from 2012 from the archives of unexplained-mysteries.com. Lost boy finds mother on Google Earth.
But they're in Neverland.
After
Lost boys live in Neverland.
You're right. Well, Peter must have had some Wi-Fi or something. After 25 years, a boy who had got lost as a child was able to find his home using satellite images.
Wow.
Saru was only 5 years old when he became lost and after being separated from his brother during a train journey. After getting on the wrong train and traveling for hours in the wrong direction, he ended up begging on the streets of Calcutta slums.
Wow.
Eventually, he was rescued by an orphanage but had no knowledge of his mother's name or the town in which he lived. After being brought up by foster parents in Australia 25 years on, Saru was able to use Google Earth to pinpoint his hometown and find his birth mother. She grabbed my hand and took me to her house, he said. She could not say anything to me. I think she was as numb as I was. She had a bit of trouble grasping that her son, after 25 years, had just reappeared like a ghost. Wow, what an amazing story. And that's all we have, but what a beautiful ending to that. 25 years of not knowing.
So, wait a minute. So he ended up... got on the wrong train, begging in the streets of Calcutta. Right.
He got on the wrong train, ended up stranded in Calcutta, where he had to beg to survive.
Where was he from in the first place, though?
It never says. That's
and then he ends up in Australia for 25 years.
Yeah. Well, he ended up being taken in by an orphanage and then picked up, apparently adopted or fostered by a family in Australia. So, very interesting. Whatever the situation is, that's amazing. Incredible that he could remember parts of his town but couldn't figure out where that was or his mom's name. That's the part that's weird. I guess you just call him mom, right? So, I mean, it's not surprising that a little kid wouldn't really know his parents' name.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a beautiful ending to that story. Reunited after 25 years in 2012.
Reunited because
Don't do it, Don. Stop. I'm definitely not hitting a copyright strike for that one. If you sing something better, all right, I'll eat it. But
I like that song.
Okay. You're such a conundrum. You're just like, you're into this death metal stuff, and then
then I bust out something from the late 70s.
Oh my God, yeah,
early 80s Captain Tennille crap like that. You know,
yeah, you're just
a little bit of ABBA every now and then.
You're this dichotomy of taste. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's go to the next one. And we'll see what we can...
I'm an amalgamation of many different things.
You're like a homunculus of music.
Homunculus. Oh, boy.
All right, let's go to the last story, actually, on our... And this is also from the archives. So this is from 2012, but
nerves, yeah,
I guess if you're living somewhere and you're getting in trouble for the noise, this is probably a good scapegoat.
I never thought of that.
Woman blames poltergeist for loud parties.
Why couldn't I have figured that out?
From April 10th, 2012, a 20-year-old mother has been evicted from her home after claiming a ghost was playing loud music. Oh, those ghosts.
It's the freaking poltergeists.
Leanne Fennell told her neighbors that the loud music and late-night disturbances were the result of a poltergeist haunting. She told us a poltergeist would keep switching the music on really loud when she was in bed, said one resident. Leanne was finally evicted from the house after being taken to court for ignoring a noise abatement order. Now the curiosity is, did the activity stop?
Right.
We don't know. That's where the story ends. So that's all we got to work with.
It, and they didn't just, like, if it just came on and was, like, on for just, like, a minute or two, because, like, she ran out to turn off whatever was on, or was it, like, did it go on for, like, an hour and a half and, drunkards fall out the front door? Then in that case,
I don't know, Leanne, your poltergeist puked all over the hallway, too.
Ew, ectoplasm.
Yeah, right. There you go, folks. Just blame a poltergeist, apparently.
Why is it purple?
I don't think it worked for her, though. That's the takeaway from this is that excuse didn't work. So don't rely on poltergeists as a defense.
That's right.
Even though it may actually happen. But just saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News, except I got one more to go. And I want to hit this one because it's one I've had open for a while.
Jake says, poltergeist swept my bed. You sick.
Oh, Jake.
How you doing, Jake?
Good to see you, Jake. Good to see you. Glad to see you're working on all those ideas. We're molding your young mind in probably not a good way.
Actually, it's the other Jake. It's BLB Jake.
Oh, BLB Jake. We don't have to worry about him.
He's already twisted.
He's already twisted and broken. I thought it was Jake Fortes. All right. Well, here we go. This is the one that I've been waiting to. This is apparently a weird stick-like thin figure creature showed up on CCTV footage.
Okay.
This is from the 14th of this month.
Wow.
So it's rather new from unexplained-mysteries.com. Weird stick-thin creature shows up on CCTV footage. Well, I mean, we do know about those crawlers or whatever they call them.
Napkins blowing in the wind too.
It could be it could just be a Safeway bag or a Walmart bag.
Because we've got videos of them walking across streets.
Dude, I swear that still doesn't make sense to me that that plastic bag could just be walking across a street.
That's what it looked like.
It does. I mean, that's what it's depicted. So either it's CGI or that was just a weird freak of wind currents because that was really unreal. The footage we're talking about we're not showing, but I just wanted to read this one because I had it open. So, a very strange and somewhat questionable video has emerged online showing a mysterious alien-like figure. I got to make sure I got it. Yep, I got it up. The footage, which has been reportedly captured by a security camera in Red River Gorge, Kentucky, was posted onto Facebook by a user going by the name of Douglas Windsor McClooney.
Wow.
The third.
The third.
It's Douglas Windsor McClooney the third.
Lovey.
Yes, lovey. This thing was caught on a security camera at one of the cottages up at the gorge, he wrote. It doesn't move like a human. It moves almost like its knees caps are backwards. Ooh. The footage itself, which is in black and white, shows the stick-thin humanoid making its way slowly up a driveway before gingerly sidestepping towards a parked car. Gingerly. Throughout the video, it seems to maintain an unnatural semi-crouching state, which is, I think, what most burglars use too, but I might be wrong. Skeptics argue that the creature is either a fake using computer imagery or a digital manipulation of a real person. Whatever the truth of the matter, the video is certainly unusual. And I just thought we'd take a look at it. So I don't know who's posted this, but it almost looks like the Mindseed TV. Oh, what was that name? Chris Cirillo. He's got very few subscribers, but very cool. Let's take a look at what he managed to capture. I'll do this. Oh, look at that. That is pretty creepy looking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that's more than, yeah.
That's more than just a bag blowing in the wind. Look at the head and the neck and stuff. I think we'll do without the noise because it's not adding to it.
No.
Let's do without the noise.
That's crazy. That's kind of crazy. Now, is there any way? How close to that tire does he get? That's
man size. I guess.
Yeah, that's man size.
Small man, anyway.
Short human, yeah.
Yeah, like a 5 foot tall.
Yeah,
let's look at that again.
Absolutely.
Let's look at that again. That's very creepy. I don't know where he gets the kneecap backward things. It almost looks like it's really pigeon-toed, though, as it's moving. But look at how thin and frail looking those limbs are. That's really peculiar.
It's Dobby.
Don't give him clothes. I don't know.
How's this giving me a sock?
It is odd. This projection here, of course, is the other arm, I think. I don't think it's anything coming from its chin or whatever, but it does look really awkward and creepy. I don't know. I wouldn't want to see that outside. What do you think, Don?
Not really.
No?
No.
Yeah, that just looks bizarre. I mean, it's got to be about 5 foot, but yeah, that's his other arm hanging there, and it does have an odd. Come on, get out of the way. It has an odd build, but there seems to be a really, I mean, not really, really abnormally long, but quite a long neck. It was very thin.
That's a long neck.
Its head almost looks like almost cylindrical more than the usual oval.
Right.
It looks like it's very uniform, and I mean this quality is horrible, but you can only work with what we're given here. Sure. But could it be real? Yeah, I think this is very similar to a few other of these strange creature videos that we've seen before. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, yes, this is legitimate, folks. Okay. You're seeing an actual example. I don't know. Because, of course, fakery is prevalent, and there's many brilliantly talented artists out there that can make things you wouldn't believe. Well, actually you would, because I'm sure you've seen them. But I don't know. This could very well be real, but it could very well be fake. But it does seem consistent to other things like this that we've observed, especially like the one through that screen where the guy's got his iPad up. That one disturbed me. It still disturbs me to this day. And that's why I think it's may very well be legit, because it just comes with that gut feeling like, no, I don't want this thing anywhere near. It's just creepy. And this is not much different. I think the difference probably is the angle. Like you're above and looking down, so automatically you don't feel like you're at a safe place. But this is very wild.
I sent you a link to the walking bag if you want to.
The walking bag? Okay.
I sent you the walking bag.
You sent me the walking bag.
You give me the best presents.
Oh, Don, you always know what to do. Yeah, we can put this up, and this is we'll show it because it's just so damn weird.
Android says that there's a better one of this humanoid thing in the driveway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it says it's clearer, but I'm not finding a different one.
Okay, hold on, let's do this. I'll get this one queued up and we can check it out. But yeah, it's very creepy. This is a very creepy video too. I think it's very possibly the real thing, but maybe it's possibly a hoax. I can't pretend to know for sure. I don't know where the whole kneecap backwards thing comes in, but that's very strange. Very, very strange video. I don't know. You guys be the judge. I'm not gonna pretend to tell you one way or the other, but because I just can't know. All right, let's take a look at this last one. Since we did reference it, we'll put it up and play it. It's very strange. It's literally a plastic bag.
It looks like it's got feet.
Right.
It's literally got little tiny legs.
Yeah, it's really weird. All right, so let me put this up on screen, and this is the video that Don and I are talking about. It doesn't make sense. Look at that.
Looks like it's got little tiny legs. Like there's a little something in there.
Yeah.
Hiding in the bag, walking across the street.
Right? Now, how can that be wind? That blows my mind. Now, it could be fake as well. This could be CGI that we're looking at here. But if you look at the possibility, how does a draft make that happen?
I mean, that's a stride.
Yeah, it really is. With each corner of the bag taking steps. So I don't know how that's not, if it's actually a bag and it was actually filmed, I don't know how that's not real. That's very weird. So there you go, folks. That's the walking bag that we're talking about. If that's legitimately something that was filmed in the moment, I can't believe that that's just some weird drafts doing this. It's something else. It's something else.
Right, yeah.
I don't pretend to know what, but it's something else.
Well, there you go.
There you go, folks. So that's going to conclude our news for tonight. Let's get back to the rest of the show.
The rest of the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's a bag ghost.
It's a bag ghost.
It's a green screen. I can see it. You might be right. It could be.
Could be.
Could be a green screen. I'm not pretending it has to be real.
We're just
but
presenting the information. You make your own decisions.
Yep. I mean, that certainly is more plausible than a lot of other explanations, either CGI or a green screen. But if it's real, that's a hell of a capture. And I don't believe it's just thermals grabbing a plastic bag. So you be the judge. I didn't shoot it. I can't speak to it. Shoot the footage.
I was going to say, yeah, if I saw it, I'd probably shoot it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
all right.
No trespassing. Oh, it's just a deer. Bang, sorry.
They fit on the grill, don't they?
They do. So the bear.
Oof.
Apparently there's a bear out by my place again.
Oh, you said you had one running through your yard a year or two ago?
Well, that was a couple years ago.
A couple years
3
ago.
years ago. But apparently we got another one coming through again.
Don's getting the bears that are coming for his honey.
Oh, no, Maggie. Maggie, she says, why'd the ghost cross the road?
Ooh, that's clever.
To get to the other side. Oh, my
God,
goodness.
love it. That's clever. Well played.
Oh, no. That was actually really good.
That was very clever.
That's
Wow.
Nice.
Well done.
Wow.
It fits. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
To the other side.
Let's get to the rest of the show here, and we're going to cover a lot more of this stuff. Initially, what I want to do is, of course, is what?
That's just funny.
Oh, it is. That was really, really very clever.
Elaine asked, was the bag walking itself to recycling?
Well, it's good to reuse those things if you can.
Now if every bag could just walk themselves to the recycle center.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
They'd blow out the window. Oh, I guess I'll just walk home.
All right, let's get to the rest of the show, folks, and we're going to go to an article that we've been working our way through. I don't know how much of it is left, but we certainly have a lot more to cover.
Working our way back to you, Brent.
Will you stop with the music, Don? Don's got his own mental DJ cooking. All right, so we're going to go to this thought catalog article we've been working through. It's written by Emily Madriga, or at least compiled by her, and it's from 2021, September, it looks like, of 2021. Real ghost stories that'll make you believe in the paranormal. Well, we sure hope so anyway, but let's get to this. We've been working through it in the last couple shows, but let's do some more here. And this is The Knocking.
Knocking on heaven's door.
Jesus, Don. We started hearing knocks on the siding, second floor, as if someone was at the door. And this followed loud banging in the basement every night. I decided to record through the night, and this snowflake ornament started spinning long after all had gone to bed. There was no draft as the other ornaments didn't move, and when I played it back, I heard a man's voice repeatedly calling me a hoe. I still live there. Wow, I think we did read this last time. But
Wow.
it's just calling this person a hoe. What a horror. Hey, maybe she likes gardening. Wasn't that your line? Was that what you said last time, or maybe Sheldon said that?
It was probably Sheldon.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that one, yeah.
I thought I'd replay the joke, too, because it's kind of clever. Now, the next one I don't think we read before, so let's get to this one. And this is, my girlfriend and I were driving back to her parents' house when I was probably 17 or 18. We went down this one road, and she screamed at me to swerve. Well, I figured she saw a deer, and when I turned my head, I seen a woman dressed in white pushing a white bassinet.
Wow.
She was also holding a boy's hand, and he was wearing white. But they weren't in my rearview mirror. That was by Salami Mommy.
Oh, my.
The last one was It's My Life 101. There you go. All right, the next one is Home Alone.
Kevin!
Okay, I had to go there. I had to go there. When I was about 12, during the summer, my sister, who is 5 years older than me, was out with friends after work. We shared a bedroom, and I was up late doodling in a notebook in bed and had an older glass TV next to my bed that was turned off. At one point, I looked up and saw in the reflection of the TV screen my sister walk out of our bedroom doorway and into the stairwell. When I turned around to greet her, she wasn't there. I get up and walked into the stairwell, and all the lights are still off downstairs and in the bathroom next to our bedrooms. So I think she must have ran downstairs really fast and head down myself to find no one again. At this point, I'm getting a little spooked, and I wanted to prove myself wrong, so I went outside, and her car was still gone. I sprint back inside and run back upstairs to my parents' room and wake my mom up to tell her I was pretty sure I'd just seen a ghost. Well, she was too tired to do much for it, so I went back into my bedroom petrified. When I thought back on it, I realized the girl was in a long-sleeved dress that looked somewhat vintage, and my sister was very much a tomboy in those days. But she had blonde hair like my sister and was looking towards me while walking out of the room. I stayed awake with my light on until my actual sister got home. I felt safe to go to sleep. It still creeps me out a little bit to think about it to this day. I don't really believe much in an afterlife, but I know I saw a young girl walking out of the door. I wasn't really tired. I hadn't been watching anything earlier in the evening to scare me, and further wasn't scared when I first saw her because I thought it was my sister. I can't explain it though. Yep. Never saw her or anything like it again. That was by Uneasy and Cheesy. Now that's interesting, and that's another one of those one-offs. It's like, why just one thing? Was it just something that wandered through? Someone that wandered through? Was it just a one-time visitation? Who knows?
Well, you've talked about wandering ghosts before.
Sure.
And then, we have people that we know that have talked about, walk-in spirits, too.
Oh, sure.
So, if spirits do wander the earth as opposed to being, say, chained to one area, then, it would make sense that, something may just walk right through. Like in here, where do the spirits that you believe have come through here come from? The one that so I guess passed through me that night. Where the hell did that one come from?
Or where do they stay, or what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is there a ghost hostel somewhere? It's like in your backyard. What?
Yeah, and I think about that often, and I think that it's possible that these spirits, maybe they're not always active, but
right.
they may be just in this kind of dormant state until something happens. Some trigger pulls them out of that and into a more active state. I don't know. It's very peculiar.
Yeah.
Because there can be months. I don't think that time matters much, in the spirit, side of things.
True.
Like we measure time out for everything.
Right.
But
when your time's up.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're existing in a state of a completely energetic state,
right.
Maybe time is just absolutely fluid and irrelevant. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's very peculiar. I don't know. It's something that I often think about though, because there's houses that'll be absolutely quiet,
right,
until somebody decides to knock a wall out.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, boom, things just spring to life.
Yep.
And it's just one of those weird quirks of the paranormal. We just don't know.
Right.
But it seems like if you want to find out if you've got a presence, then start remodeling, because you'll find out.
Yeah, piss them right off. And if you find shoes if you only find left shoes in your wall, put them right back. Put that wall back up.
Yep.
Leave it the hell alone.
Don't take them out, because somebody was warding off something dark. Blessing is the next one. It says, I can't believe this. Shortly before the birth of my third child, I was super stressed about everything.
Yeah.
Standard stuff, juggling work and decorating the nursery, praying for baby health, etc. And one night I had a dream that I was sitting on the stairs just outside of the nursery, and my long since dead grandma came walking up the stairs.
Okay.
Sat down next to me, put her arm around me, and told me that everything was going to be all right. It was so comforting and felt so real. I'm as skeptical as they come, but this will absolutely always stay with me as a special moment that felt like more than just a dream.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. Goose Rider 3000 wrote that one, and I think that those visitations are very real. I think that again, for many of us, the only time spirits can really get through to us is when we're in that sleep state.
Yeah, when we don't have those walls up.
Yeah, exactly. So, very cool story. I think Grandma just let her know, hey, everything's fine.
Chill out.
Chill out, relax. Drink some cocoa.
Cocoa. Have some cocoa.
Nightly visit is next. My grandma came to me the night she passed, too.
Does my hand still wander? I haven't had an episode of...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I haven't had an episode in a while.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, for context, Don's hand used to try to kill him at night.
Alien hand syndrome.
Alien hand syndrome, yeah.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
We'll call it that.
I don't know what else we call it.
Yeah, no, I don't
Don's
know.
hand.
Don's possessed hand.
Don's
yeah.
possessed hand.
Yeah. Would you wake up and it was pulling your hair
Yeah,
and
it
stuff?
was like grab my hair and it just like shake the crap out of my... It's only happened like 2 or 3 times, but
That's
you know.
probably enough. Though.
That was, trust me, it was enough.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's frightening. Well, let's
Rachel
go.
says that happened to her once.
Oh, really?
Mm.
All right.
There you go.
I don't know. I've never had that hand attack me yet. I'm not going for it.
Go back to the 70s and watch the movie The Hand.
Oh yeah, was it was it The Hand?
Yeah, it was called The Hand.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That was not connected to anything though, right?
Well, it was knocked out. Well, the story is the kid was in a car and he reached out and a car went by and cut his hand off.
Right.
And the hand literally wandered around looking for him.
Oh, it lived on.
Yeah.
There you go. My grandmother came to me the night she passed too. I was in school and working, so I couldn't leave to visit her. My dad said it was okay and to focus on school. Well, a couple of days later, she came to me in my dream. She looked like she did when I was a kid and wearing pajamas that she always wore. She said that she was leaving. In the dream, I felt like I knew where she was going and understood. I told her I was going to miss her, and she said that she would too. Woke up and my buddy was giving me a ride to work and my dad calls me crying. She had passed. I told my dad the dream and he believed me. He was happy that I saw her before she left. I don't believe in ghosts. Yeah, there you go again. I don't believe in ghosts, but I had this incredible experience. I don't believe in ghosts, gods, or anything supernatural, but I still can't deny what happened. That was by E. Sleazy. Yep. Some of the most incredible stories start with, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time. And then
I was standing out having a cigarette.
They go into these amazing stories.
Yeah.
It's like, and you got through that and still got nothing?
And then
really?
at the end, they still go, well, I still don't believe in it. Well, what the hell?
Yeah. What kind of denial are you working with there? I mean, if something happens that's so transformative, and this person again says, I don't know, I don't believe in any of that stuff, but I can't explain this. Well, maybe it's real then. Maybe that's the explanation.
Right.
Just go with that.
Just work with it.
Just let it go. All right. One sweet, one spooky. When she was 1, this is like it's starting in context or something. When she was 1, she gently touched a picture of my wife's deceased grandfather, whom she would not have known anything about at that point, as we did not explain death yet and did not talk about deceased family members yet. And said that she met him before she was born, and that he was nice to her. He is the person she was named for, and that incident made me feel really, really happy. Whenever anyone asks what happens when you die, my answer is now, I have no idea, but it's the same place you were in before you were born. I think that's probably true. When she was 2, she was talking to somebody, apparently a little boy that was not there. When I asked her about her imaginary friend, she solemnly told me that he lived in our house a long time ago. I asked no further questions, and about a year later, after we had moved out, our neighbor caught his kid talking to an imaginary friend. When he asked, he was told that the boy she was playing with was my daughter's friend. At least if it was a ghost, it was friendly. There you go. That was by Ridry, R-I-D-R-Y. Ridry. There you go.
Wow.
That's the article. That is the tail end of it. So very cool.
I guess I didn't realize that.
What?
Well, Rachel just looked it up, and The Hand was one of Oliver Stone's first movies.
Oh, really?
And it had Michael Caine in it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Caine. Right. Got it. Well, you learn something new every night, Don.
Yeah.
We're always learning here on the portal. All right. We're going to go into another article, and this one's about artwork. Everybody loves a little artwork, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is not your normal artwork. This is an article from a cult museum, And then this article, we're going to be talking about 5 haunted and cursed paintings you should never hang in your home. I find this interesting. So, I guess it stands to reason. What a curse is basically boils down to an energetic imprint on an object. So you're imprinting some form of energy that will affect those that come in contact with it, or those that own it, or whatever. And I don't know. It's kind of an odd kind of thing, but I think there is merit to these things. I think there are things that can just definitely be not good to have around. And maybe it's more like an attachment, like a spiritual attachment to things. So oftentimes we've discussed that you can come into contact with an item at like an antique store or thrift sailing or something, bring it into your home. Suddenly things are going weird. Like things are going on in your house that would imply you have a haunting suddenly. And it can be traced in some cases to items that were brought into the house. So are haunted items and cursed items the same or different? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't? Okay.
No, because haunted means that there's some kind of a spirit attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed means somebody placed a curse on it. So one is an intention, the other is an energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But I'm wondering, in the form of the energy, does that become almost like a tulpa? In other words, it becomes an intent of a conscious intent to cause harm to whomever or
that would be the
a
curse,
person.
But
right.
Yeah, that would be a curse. I still think it'd be different than a haunting.
Okay.
So.
And you're probably right, but it's
that's just my opinion, my thoughts on it.
It's just worth mentioning because we do talk about haunted objects.
We do.
So in either case, it appears that whether it's a consciousness can imprint itself on an object, or a person can imprint a consciousness onto an object.
Yeah.
I guess is where I'm going with this. It seems like there's a similarity there.
Yeah.
So these are 5 haunted and cursed paintings you should never hang in your home.
Yeah, we've talked about this one before.
Yeah, this one has come up through the ages a couple times, I think. Let's go to the first one here. This is who wrote this first of all? It's by the Occult Museum, so it's from their one of their staff. Yep, compiled this. Yep. So, let's see, The Anguished Man by Unknown, and look at that painting. Who the hell would hang that up anyway?
That would be freaking scary to begin with.
There's nothing attractive. Like, I'd love to put that over the sofa.
And if it's by unknown, yeah, exactly. If it's by unknown, how do they know the name of it?
Yeah, well, I guess it's
marked on the back. Anguished Man.
Yeah.
Why the hell?
Yeah, I don't know. But let's read about it and see what's going on. It says Sean Robinson had always been curious about the strange painting his grandmother owned. He had discovered it as a boy while exploring her basement.
So apparently, stay in the basement.
So apparently, Grandma wasn't real fond of it either.
No.
So hidden from view by layers and layers of old unused curtains.
There's a reason.
She told him it frightened her, saying that while she didn't know the artist's name, she'd been told that the artist had mixed his own blood with the paint just before committing suicide. Oh, dear God.
Well, there you go.
After her death, the painting was given to Sean, who hung it on the wall of his family home. Oh, no. Even knowing that, he hung it on the wall. Soon after, strange occurrences began to happen. Oh, really? An inexplainable fog began to appear in the house.
In the house.
Strange banging noises could be heard from empty rooms, and one night Sean woke to find a dark figure looming over his bed.
Good night.
Yeah. He could take no more. The anguished man was taken to the basement the next morning and placed in the corner, hidden from view by blankets, where it remains to this day.
For his kids to find.
Yeah, I mean, just maybe burn it. Maybe just start there. Kill it with fire. See how that works.
Well, yeah.
All right, here's the next one. And this is The Crying Boy by Giovanni Bragolin. At the end of the Second World War, artist Giovanni Bragolin began... What?
Wonder Woman says, hang it upside down and call it Rotten Pear.
It does, yeah. I mean, you got something there. not a bad angle. Upside down, it might look happy. This is began painting portraits of Italian orphans crying. Oh, that's horrible. Why would you want to preserve that? Well, I guess it's like photographers. Same kind of thing. Over time, the mass-produced prints became increasingly popular in England, and that is until the 1980s when people began to say the prints were cursed. The Sun newspaper reported that in over 50 house fires, the crying boy prints were the only item to survive the flames. Right, yeah. In one case, firefighters found a print still in its frame, face down on the floor, completely untouched by the fire that had destroyed the rest of the house. Sound strange? Well, according to numerous psychics, the prints are haunted by the orphans, their misery and despair, continuing to haunt the paintings long after their deaths. If you want to get your hands on a cursed painting, you're in luck. You can actually find copies of the Crying Boy prints or one of its many spin-offs on eBay.
Now, wait a minute. So it's just one picture, it's one painting or one print of one boy.
Yep.
And are the hauntings by the same boy? Or are they just of the orphans that were there at the time?
I don't know.
That, during the war.
Yeah, I don't know what the implication there is. Is it one intelligence or is it potentially many?
Is it like a revolving door of...
Right.
Huh.
Well, the next one is Love Letters by Richard King. I was going to say King Richard, but it's Richard King. The Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas is famous for its haunted reputation and its regular stop-off for paranormal tourists from around the world. Of all the many ghost stories connected to the hotel, the most well-known is that of Samantha Houston.
Oh, yeah.
You know this?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. The 4-year-old daughter of a U.S. senator. During her stay at the hotel in 1887, Samantha tragically fell to her death while chasing a ball down the main staircase. The painting Love Letters, which hangs in the hotel, does not actually depict Samantha, but is said to be haunted by her spirit nonetheless. Sightings of a little girl playing with a ball have been seen throughout the hotel. Staff and guests regularly report that the painting makes them feel dizzy and nauseous, while others have experienced a sensation of being lifted into the air while standing in front of it. Some even claim that the painting is trying to communicate with them, believing that if you stand in front of it for long enough, the little girl's expression will change.
That could be scary. That would be the scary thing.
Yeah.
Because you look at that and you go, oh, that's cute. It's done well, it's got great,
It's got a pleasant look on her face.
Yeah. So.
But apparently it's...
Okay, scroll, because I don't want to keep looking at it.
Let's see if her expression changes.
I think I'm starting to float.
I want to see her expression change.
Oh, sorry, that's just my tummy.
All right, The Dead Mother by, Edvard Munch. I don't know, Munch. Edvard Munch.
Dead Mother? Oh, my.
Yeah, look at that.
You're asking for trouble there.
Yeah, I know. That's like the recipe.
Yeah, exactly.
While many of you will be more familiar with Edvard Munch's haunting painting The Scream, it's actually another one of his paintings titled The Dead Mother that people say is actually haunted. The deeply disturbing painting, which depicts the figure of a young girl standing in front of her mother's body, has been exhibited around the world. People who have viewed the work of art find it unsettling, to say the least, but they also claim the eyes of the child followed them incessantly. Stranger still, some have even claimed to have heard the faint sound of the dead woman's bed sheets rustling.
Oh.
Wow, must have been a quiet gallery.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, really, would you hear bed sheets in a gallery? I don't know. It's a really creepy looking picture, though.
It is, yeah.
Ugh. All right. The Hands Resist Him by Bill Stoneham.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, the one even...
This doesn't... I mean, this looks like a little boy, but this...
That looks like a doll.
Yeah,
of the
right?
articulation. What is that she's holding? Is that a gun?
I thought the same thing, but that's just the window pane.
Oh, it's the window pane, right.
It's like a little teapot or something. I don't know, or a locket, maybe.
Teapot, short hands down. That is definitely a scary...
What's with the hands? That's creepy, though.
Yeah, well, the hands resist him.
In 1972, artist Bill Stoneham painted the now infamous The Hand Resist Him, inspired by a childhood photograph of himself and his wife's poetry. He gave the painting to his local art gallery to display before being purchased in 1974 by a private buyer. Over a decade later, the gallery owner, the buyer, and the art critic who first reviewed the painting had all died. Quite the coincidence, and that's not the half of it. After the death of the original owner, the painting changed ownership again and again until it was finally put up for sale on eBay, which was when its true haunted nature was finally revealed. The family selling the painting claimed it was haunting their daughter. The young girl told the parents she would often wake in the middle of the night to the sight of the boy and the doll coming to life, crawling out of the painting to come and play with her.
No.
Yes.
Settle down, Samara.
These stories of strange nighttime playmates were enough to convince the family that the painting needed to go. Some eBay customers said that just viewing the painting on their computers caused them to become physically ill and suffer blackouts. Undeterred by the ghost stories, gallery owner Kim Smith purchased the painting for $1,025. It now resides in storage, safely hidden from the view of unsuspecting art lovers. So there you go. That's 5 paintings that are incredibly disturbing. I don't think I'd like any of them, Don.
The $1,050 is what it got sold for.
I thought what did I say?
I don't know. Did it actually say?
Yeah, it said it sold for $1,025.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
And now resides in storage. I bought it to store it. Well, maybe it's an artwork that'll appreciate in value, perhaps.
It says Bill's still selling reprints of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
that's a June 2004. So.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Crazy. We had a friend. We have a friend who had a haunted picture.
Well, you had a Gacy.
Yeah, Gacy of what's
the killer clown guy, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, what was his clown's name?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I was it like Bubbles or something?
Bubbles,
really bothersome. I'm sure you can Google it.
Well, I'm sure I could, but you know what? That's okay. But yeah, he said that he had that in his room for quite a while, and it gave him a creepy, uneasy feeling.
Just gonna stop. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know.
And it really.
He did say that though. In fact, I think his girlfriend wouldn't let him bring it in the house.
Yeah.
He had to keep it in the garage.
Right. Yeah. It got moved. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's so much disturbing about that whole thing. You know, that this was somebody who hurt a lot of people,
right, yeah.
and then was able to actually sell art after that. Of his own art, a character,
right?
The clown. It's like, really? No.
It was Patches.
Patches. Pogo. Well,
or Patches, either one. So Pogo, but Pogo's the one I knew of. Yeah.
That's all
Pogo
kinds
the
of
clown.
disturbing. Ugh. All kinds of disturbing. No clowns. Yeah. Bernays sauce says no clowns. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Don thinks too.
Yep, I agree.
He's almost in a no clown zone, except I hung one right by him.
Shut up, Jess. Gosh.
We all float down here.
What
does that mean?
But that's Pennywise.
Oh, I don't know. I've never watched it.
Hey, Georgie. We all float down here. Thank you, Tim.
Hey, Danny. Good to see you. Thanks for finally making it. Good.
Ah.
I was going to do attendance. Speaking of attendance, Don,
yeah,
who's
let's
here?
do attendance because there's one person I haven't seen in a while here. Let's go. So it's Bernays Sauce. It's Danny. Hey, you doing, Danny? Don's to you too. That's the name I haven't seen in a while. How you been?
Oh, good to see you.
Ghost Magnet. Jess is here. Maggie M10. Rachel gets it right. Ruger. Tracy Gale. I saw Mom in earlier.
Oh yeah, she's listening.
Yeah, she definitely is. Blue Cruise. That's a new name in my book. Ruger. Did I say Ruger? I don't know. Farm was here for a while too. The Unknown. Mm-hmm. Who else? Sandra Piper. Yeah, there you go. And then Jake, of course. Jake from BLB Jake.
BLB Jake.
And so...
Not State Farm Jake.
Not State Farm, yeah. And the Fourth Color. Yes. And Elaine.
Elaine says she's not here.
She's not here. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Elaine is not here. Sorry.
Too late.
Elaine there? No, man. There's no Elaine here. No, man. It's Elaine. No, man. Elaine's not here.
Cheech and Chong, right?
Cheech and Chong.
Got it. See? I got it. I caught it. All right. So let's see what we're doing here now. We got 8:12. Wow. Where the hell's the time gone, Don?
Wonder Woman says, no clowns. Leave on Nope Street.
So quick survey. Who likes clowns? If you like clowns, do a type of 1.
Type 1.
I'm just in the chat.
If you think they could just go straight to hell, just don't write anything.
Yeah, 0 if you don't like clowns, a 1 if you like clowns. Let's do this.
Maggie
likes clowns.
Ooh, no.
Send in the clowns.
Oh my gosh, settle down.
Where are the clowns?
Oh, we're gonna get it. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, I just thought I'd go DJ up in here
There you
too.
go.
Okay, so we got Jess likes clowns.
Wow, yeah. Wow.
Rachel likes clowns. What do we got? I don't know if Fourth is doing clown emojis.
There we go. Oh, Wonder Woman. Yeah, she's like, binary code.
Alicia likes clowns. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, wow.
A lot. Well, Wonder Woman really doesn't like clowns. She did like 8 zeros.
That's right. You got it.
Good to see you too, Dawn. Thank you so much for being here. Well, I'm just kind of curious because, you wound it up. That is so creepy. That's from our good friend Lady Death.
As a matter of fact, I talked to her today.
Oh, did you?
Well, I messaged her because she sent me that that coffee cup so long ago.
Uh-huh.
That said human beings on it.
Oh.
And I guess where she is now, where she's living, there's a coffee place called the Human Bean.
Oh wow!
And so she says
she take a picture of it.
She took a picture of it and sent it to me today. And said every time I go by there, I think of you. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
Oh.
So yeah.
If you're looking for the inside scoop on the human beans, you got to go to the Pieces channel and check out Don Spills the Beans. It's a video short over on the Pieces channel. It's hilarious.
It was classic.
It is a classic. It's been a long time classic of the show. I don't know if we have many, but that was one of those.
We have lots. We just haven't gone and dug them up, like Nunker Road. Yeah, and there's lots of classic, and yeah.
Oh no, yeah, Nunker Road. That's a good one too.
Nunker Road, take me home.
Let's get on to the next thing. We're going to go into the Phantoms and Monsters Vault of Terror. And check out some of Lon Strickler's articles here on phantomsandmonsters.com. And again, Phantoms and Monsters is Lon Strickler's site. He is really, it's been a pillar in the paranormal community forever. Great guy. He's been a guest of the show. I just really have enjoyed having him on and talking to him. And if you want to hear those episodes, you can check them out on our podcast. What?
Rachel, she says, nothing more relaxing than slipping into a clown suit.
Ooh.
You mean like slipping into a clown with a car? You didn't fit in this one, did ya?
But Lon is also an accomplished paranormal author and writes about a lot of Fortean topics.
True, yes.
And they also have research projects going on with the different phenomena around, including the Mothman appearances in the Great Lakes regions, the Dogman investigations over in Pennsylvania area. And he's really got this network of investigators that are working with him to look into these phenomena as they happen and to work with witnesses that may have seen some of the strangeness. So we're going to visit a couple of articles he's got over there on phantomsandmonsters.com. Boom. There it is. And he's also got a podcast. It's called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So, werewolves, portals, crawlers, and shadow beings near Land Between the Lakes. So, Land Between the Lakes is a real famous place or setting for what could very well be one of the most terrifying and horrific encounters with a dogman ever. Like, it's just this brutal story of a family being tormented and destroyed, just mauled by what is believed to be a dogman. And it's a horrible accounting of what happened to this family. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. It's just legendary in the cryptid communities. But if indeed that's true, that is absolutely terrifying and reinforces my desire never to see a dogman.
Yeah.
Ever. So let's check out this article from phantomsandmonsters.com. A Tennessee family is experiencing a variety of unsettling, unexplained phenomena. As time goes on, the husband gives a detailed account of the activity along with updates, and this is his 2-part account. So this might take a little bit. The following account with updates was recently brought to my attention, and that's, of course, Lon, as he documents this. Part 1. About a year ago, I moved my family and I to a home way out in the woods in Tennessee. I want to be brief here, but I needed to get this off my chest, And after looking into this matter a little more, I have a lot more details that I think will paint a clear picture in the end, so please bear with me. The nights here can be extremely loud. Between the crickets, tree frogs, and the cicadas, it can almost be deafening. One night, not too long after we moved in, I'd gotten something in my car and headed outside to get it, or I'd forgotten rather. The first thing that struck me was odd was that my dog wouldn't go outside with me. The dog goes everywhere with me, and as I am her whole world, but not this night. As I held the door open, she looked out and then looked up at me like, nope. So I walked out and shut the door behind me. The second thing that caught me off guard was there was not a peep. It was dead silent. Still shrugged this off and walked down my front steps and headed down to my car. When I'd gotten about 10 feet from my car, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I felt as though something was watching me. I looked around but saw nothing. After I reached in my car for what I had forgotten to grab earlier, I had this feeling like something was moving towards me. I took a step back and checked out around me. All of a sudden, I heard one of my hedges next to me, that the line walkway to our front door, rattle. What? Heard the hedges next to me, that line the walkway to our front door, rattle. So you heard the bushes rattle. At first, I thought it was just a rabbit that I had spooked, as I had seen one just earlier in the day, right where this was. A few seconds later, I heard the sound of a large rock about the size of a cantaloupe landing a few feet away from me. It hit the walkway and bounced into a shrub. I drew my gun and called out and said, whoever that this was is about to be shot. After a few seconds of nothing, I began to think that maybe this was some local teenagers messing with the new people. Well, I holstered my sidearm, turned, and started walking back to my front door. Almost as soon as I turned towards my house, I heard this deep panting sound. It sounded like a huge dog. But what made me nope back into my front door was that it sounded like it was right behind me. I leaped up onto my porch, turned and drew my gun again, expecting something right there. But again, there was nothing. A couple of weeks later, I was on the front porch at night, sitting on a bench with my wife. She got up and walked inside to get something, and as soon as she shut the door, I heard that panting sound again. I couldn't see anything, yet this sounded like it was right on top of me. The sound was coming from everywhere, and it was very loud. Again, I couldn't see anything, so I noped back inside the house. Now, at this point, I was questioning moving here. But after nothing else really happened, I just let it go. A month or so later, it was really rainy and stormy night. This is around 9 p.m., and my wife and I enjoy listening to the rain and talking about how relaxing the rain is. Me growing up in Oregon, loved the rain, and for the past 10 years we lived in Vegas, where it would dump an entire year of rain in a day and then be bone dry for the rest of the year. For my wife, who grew up in Nevada, rain was such a rare thing, she loved going outside and watching it rain. So for us, this is an enjoyable experience, except this night in particularly, things took a weird turn. As we're sitting there talking about the rain and relaxing, my wife stops me and said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "No, what did you hear?" She said, "I swear, it sounded like a small child crying for help out in the middle of the woods beside our house."
Not good.
I said, "No, I didn't hear anything." After a few moments of us listening intently, she said, "There it is again." I said, "I didn't hear a thing, sweetie. Are you sure you're not just hearing things?" She looked at me offended that I didn't hear anything and said, "No, I am positive. How could you not hear that? It was our son. I think he's out there and got lost." I said, "No, he's in the house sleeping on the couch." Then we both looked through the blinds that were open right behind us and could see our children laying there. She said, "That's so weird. I swear it sounds like our son." I said, "Well, it isn't him. He's right there. Besides, I didn't hear anything." She then stands up and says, "Wow, he's really crying out for help. I need to go look for him." Now, at this point, if you know my wife, you'd know she is absolutely creeped out by the woods and wouldn't be caught dead walking out in them during daylight, much less in the night during a storm. I grabbed her hand and said, "I've been listening intently, and there is absolutely nobody calling out for help. You need to stay here." At this point, I'm getting worried about her. She's acting completely out of character. Not to mention that at this time she is 8 months pregnant and our baby daughter. She then says, "What if there is some child out there lost in the woods?" I said, "Well, first off, I'd be able to hear them too. Secondly, there's no other kids around here for miles, and the odds of them being lost 100 feet from our house, that's lit up like a Christmas tree, is nil." She then says, "I know, but what if it's a kid?" Before I could say anything else, she stands up and starts walking towards the stairs.
Geez.
I jumped up and grabbed her hand again and said, "No, you're not. Get in the house." "I don't know what's going on, but you need to go inside." Well, she then complies and we both go inside. I don't know what this was, but it freaked me out. A few months after this, just as it was getting dark outside, I heard the front door to our house open and I got up to investigate. We have an autistic 6-year-old twins, and we have the door set up so that it can't open without us there. So to hear this sound, it could be only my wife. What was weird was the fact that she usually doesn't go outside without saying something to me. I walked out front and saw my wife walking down our private road towards the drive on the side of our house. I asked her what she's doing, and she says she was sitting in the back patio and kept hearing a baby crying out in the woods. And I said, "Seriously? And you just decided to walk off into the woods to investigate?" She then looks out into the woods and said, "See, there it is again." Again, I can't hear anything. But what I do notice is that there was completely silent out again. I told her, just like before, the chances of a baby being out in the woods outside of our house is slim and that she needed to get back in the house. She said, what if somebody left a baby out there?" I said, "Well, if that were true, I would hear it too." Now, at this point, I was really starting to worry about my wife's mental health. I actually asked her to see a psychiatrist, and she did. Now, looking back, I feel really bad about this, knowing what I know. A key to this moment was that my wife had just given birth to a baby girl a month before. A few days after this, we're out in the front of the porch, and it's early evening, and I just mowed the lawn and this day, and our 3-year-old son was riding around in his little car in front of the house. Now, he knows that he's not allowed outside of a certain area that we mapped off. He loves playing outside, but with the road behind 50 feet from our front porch, we have to be careful as a lot of boaters will fly through after drinking all day on their boats. Yeah. As we were talking, we were both keeping an eye on him. A neighbor drives by and stops to say hello for a second. This interaction took approximately 8 seconds, as all they said was, "How are things?" We said good, and they told us they'd stop by later as his wife got something for the kids, who happens to be one of their teachers in school. And we said, "Okay, great," and he drove off. I looked over where our son was, and he was gone. Yep. I called out his name and ran over to the side of the house and could hear his car on our side drive. I scolded him for leaving the area, and he said something about in his 3-year-old gibberish and pointed to the woods behind our house. I told him that he had 5 seconds to get back up to the porch on the house or else. And he adamantly pointed back in the direction of the woods and kept trying to tell me something. I looked off in the direction of the woods and just assumed he saw a deer or squirrel or something and wanted to see it up close. I walked him back up to the front of the house, and he cried the whole way there. He got really upset that I wouldn't let him go into the woods, but I just wrote this off as him being curious, as most 3-year-old boys are. Now, this instance isn't isolated, as our twins have done similar things, but nothing quite as extreme as this.
Ouch.
There have been nights where we had just laid down for the night and heard a loud bang on the side of our house, on the wall behind our bed. It was so loud that I jumped up and looked out the window. Our floodlight had come on, but I couldn't see anything. Now, the weird part about this is that our bedroom sits about 12 feet from the ground level, as we have a full-size basement that's cinder-blocked. I put on my slippers and grabbed one of my 12-gauge shotguns and walked outside to investigate. It was dead silent again. The floodlight that's on the side of the house had clicked off at this point, so I walked over to the end of the deck and shined my light around the yard. There was nothing. I walked around the house and shined the light around intently. As I approached the backside of my house, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. It felt like someone was watching me. I shined the light up in the trees, but again, nothing. I rounded the corner, and the first thing I noticed was that my 3 dogs that were in the area weren't making a peep. Now, our dogs have no filter and will bark at anyone and everyone. This includes me. So to see them all hiding with their tails between their legs, not making a peep, really had me worried. As I kept walking, all of a sudden the crickets and frogs started making sounds again. It was as if someone had clicked a switch. I walked back into the house. I walked in the house and told my wife that I hadn't seen anything. She shrugged and said, okay, as long as our dogs were okay. Due to the circumstances that night, I decided to let the dogs in and sleep with us. This very same thing has happened on all 4 exterior walls of our house. It's random and annoying, but it's just like in this instance, every time there's nothing going on outside. There have also been times when we were sitting in the house and as I was watching a movie, my wife walked over to me and said, "Did you call me?" I said, "No." She said she swears she heard me call her name in her ear. She said that it was definitely my voice, but she didn't understand because it sounded so close. And I was a good 20 feet from her in my recliner. The important part of this is that she was sitting at the table doing something in the slider to the backyard was open behind her. Now our back patio sits about 20 feet off the ground and is like a balcony as it has no stair access outside. I think the previous owner built it to barbecue. And there have been several instances where she would say she heard someone whisper in her ear, but she couldn't make out the sound. Again, I kept thinking she was going crazy, but as you will see, I think all of this is tied into this final moment where things are revealed. The last thing I want to mention before we get into what just happened is that I have a shooting range built behind my workshop on the opposite side of our property, next to the main road. It's kind of on a downslope, but it works perfectly for what I need it for. The range itself is cut straight into the woods going down about 100 yards or so, and when you're at the down range, you have the woods surrounding you on all the sides, except back up to my shop. I have to say it has always felt creepy when I'm dealing with my targets or mowing. When you're down there, it feels like you're miles from anyone. What time is it? This is a lot longer than I thought. We're still good. One day at around 5 in the evening, I was sighting in a new rifle scope. The sun was still up, but it was going to start to fade soon, so I knew this was going to be the final test. Up until this point, nothing really happened while I was making the multiple trips down range other than this feeling of uneasiness. As I got down range, I kept getting this feeling that someone or something was watching me. I looked around but didn't see anything. As I was placing stickers over my previous shots, I heard something big off to the side of me. It sounded like a large branch had snapped off a tree. Now, if you've been in the Tennessee woods, you'll know that a lot of branches fall off trees randomly out of nowhere. So this is nothing new, except this time it was very loud and sounded like fresh, strong wood. If that makes any sense. I turned and looked, but again couldn't see anything. I started walking back up to my rifle and swear I heard someone right behind me. I turned around, but again I saw nothing.
He left his rifle there?
I guess he left it up on the shooting stand.
Yeah.
As I started to walk again, I heard this deep growl. It was really deep and loud, and what's worse was that it was all around me. I turned around facing the range and started walking backwards. The thought of some rabid dog charging out of the bushes had me freaked out, so running wasn't a good idea. I slowly walked backwards up the hill to my rifle, but nothing happened. I grabbed my rifle and sprayed the target with rapid fire, hoping to scare off whatever was stalking me. I left 10 rounds in the mag and grabbed my rifle bag and quickly walked back up to the house. I never told my wife about this as I didn't want her to freak out. Fast forward about a year later from when we moved in, and my niece was staying with us as a live-in nanny to to earn money over summer break from college. We were on our way back from the store and about a mile from our house, and I saw two eyes reflecting in the headlights, coming from a wide tree on the side of the road just ahead. It had caught my attention because they were higher than a deer but different color and size. Just as I had said, "What is that?" and squinted, they vanished. I'd made a comment that it was almost as if they had known I could see its eyes and moved. The color was kind of golden green, but they resembled the mannerism of a large cat as they felt ominous. It's hard to explain, but I shrugged it off as we were passing up the tree and saw nothing. A few moments later, we arrived at the house. As we were getting the bags out of the car, my 3-year-old son came bolting out of the house excited to see me. As I was waiting to help her carry in her bags, I heard my dog growl. I looked in the direction she was looking at my neighbor's property across the street. Now, what I saw has kept me up all night. Up until this point, I've always been skeptical, as I had never seen anything with my own eyes. Even with what had happened to me the year prior, I still had my doubts that it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Now, my street is kind of spread out neighborhood. Each house sits on several acres, and at the end of our road is a Kentucky lake, near Land Between the Lakes recreational area. My neighbor's house sits adjacent to my house on about an acre lot. Directly in front of my house is a wall of woods, and directly behind my house is several thousand acres of untouched forest. As I was looking across the street to my neighbor's property, I saw a large, dark figure between the trees at first. This movement caught me off guard as it looked like something big moving quickly on all fours. Then when it came out into clear view, it stood up and walked like a man. At first I didn't know what to make of it. It was very tall, but what was strange about it was the distance it was covering and the fact that when it was in front of this shed, I swear I could see through it. It was clearly walking quickly, but moving faster than any person could at a sprint. More importantly, there was no sound. It was like it was phasing in and out of reality as it moved. I said, "What the hell is that?" I realized that it was looking directly at us. It had moved at an angle away from us to minimize the time out in the open and moving quickly as it could while still being silent. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up as I realized that whatever it was stalking us. I told my niece to get in the house now. I grabbed my son and booked it inside. I grabbed my AR-15 with a short scope and came back outside to see my niece still grabbing stuff out of the car. Knowing I told her firmly and clearly to get into her house, her disregard to my command annoyed me, but still I watched over her without saying a word. As she was slowly walking, she turned towards the woods across the street from my house and suddenly bolted for the house. She ran up the steps in a panicked state. I asked her what she saw, and her face was pale as a ghost. She said, "I heard something big in the woods walking loudly on the leaves, and when I turned toward it, I heard a deep guttural growl." I asked her why she didn't come in when I told her, and she said she thought that I was talking to my son. I told her what I had seen, and she wanted to get a closer look. To see if she could see something. I told her that it was not a good idea, and she went away. She went anyway. As she was walking down the walkway, I heard the sound of dry leaves crunching in the woods across the street. I told her to stop and come take the flashlight. Now at this point, she's about 6 feet away from my wife's SUV. As she turned and started walking back to me, I caught a glimpse of something gray and hairy bolt from behind the SUV back across the street into the woods. My porch is a raised porch, and our SUV is about 6.5 feet tall, and whatever this was, cleared about 45 feet in what looked like a single jump. It moved like lightning.
Wow.
Whatever it was, it wanted my niece. I jumped behind the car and out of my line of sight and was waiting for her. What? It jumped behind my car, out of my line of sight, and was waiting for her. So she still doubted my warnings and grabbed the flashlight and walked back towards the car. As she entered my driveway, she stopped dead in her tracks, leaned forward as if she could see something. I asked her what she saw. She turned and ran back up on the porch with a terrified look on her face, saying, "Nope, nope, nope," over and over again. She said it was a figure hiding inside of a tree and that she saw its eyes. I asked her what they looked like, and all she could say was that they looked dull red at first, but as she got closer, they looked dead. I said, "What do you mean dead?" And she said, there were the pupils were looked gray, like the way eyes look when they go blind. She said it was really dark gray, and she swears she could see through it almost like a dark cloud. She wanted to go out again and took a step down the stairs, and as she did, it revealed itself from the tree. I said, "Get inside," and I went in and locked the door. It looked like a tall human-shaped being, but it was really tall and looked ominous. The next morning, we did a height comparison to the tree limb that she saw it stand over, and it put its height up to about 9 feet tall, and its eyes were about 6 inches apart. Man, that's huge. Yeah. At this point, I didn't know what this thing was. After doing some research, I think this thing was a crawler.
Oh, bad news.
Ugh. I looked to see if there had been any other sighting in the Benton County, but nothing. More importantly, I swear it would phase in and out almost like a shadow person, but bigger and more obvious. One of the things that makes this fit is that it can communicate telepathically. This explains why everyone was hearing something that no one else could hear. Secondly, it has a playback-like communication, so when I heard a dog panting, it was probably one of my dogs that had heard. Kind of like the Predator, right?
Right.
My wife was actually hearing our son crying for help, as he had recently fell and cried for help. The baby crying would be our newborn baby, who she had given birth to recently. And it must have heard me call my wife's name and kept telepathically calling my wife's name with my voice. Another thing my niece had said that night was that she felt compelled to go back outside to it. She said she felt that this thing was communicating with her somehow, and it wanted her to go back outside. The more I read about this thing, the more everything that's been happening over this past year makes sense. One thing that I find extra convincing is that down the road towards the lake, there's a property that is barbed wired off and is a wall of forest with no driveway. A lot of the property down on our road is undeveloped, owned land. And on one of the trees, there is this large sign that says, "Screamer lives here," with an arrow pointing back into the woods. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw the sign, I laughed, thinking maybe the owner screamed at trespassers who entered his property, and teenagers put the sign up to mess with him. But when I did a satellite search of our neighborhood, that eerie section of the road has no houses or trails or anything, and is just pure forest for as far as the eye can see. One of the things that this thing is said to do is make a loud scream when threatened. Now that you understand my story, I doubt this is the ending. The next question is, what can we do? I don't want my wife or kids to disappear one day, and if there is more than one of these things out there, this really makes the missing 411 make a whole lot of sense. I feel perplexed and scared as what can I do? Any advice? I will try and keep this post alive with any new experiences.
Burn the forest down.
Wow, so there's a part 2. But let's see, it's 8:41. Let's just see. Yeah, burn, kill it with fire. Maybe that's a good start.
There you go.
Yeah, let's take a look. I don't know what the second part looks like, but if it's as long as the other one, yeah, this is really long.
Maybe that's for.
This will be for Friday night. Yeah, this will be for Friday night. We just don't have enough time to get into part 2, but we will. I think that's absolutely terrifying. The funny thing is I've heard these claims several times through the years, but sporadic claims. I've heard claims of people that were on a camping trip with a lot of other people. 2 guys went and just kind of broke away from the group and went and relaxed and had a cigarette somewhere up on a mountain. And it was a very dry area. There was no lakes or rivers anywhere nearby. They were in the area, but not where they were. And both these guys could hear this beautiful, alluring sound of a trickling stream. And they felt compelled, both of them, to go to the noise. Like they felt that whatever that noise was just this amazing amazingly alluring sound that they just felt like they needed to go check out. And one of the guys actually got up, and the other one went, "Wait a minute, there's no water near here. This is not right," and stopped his friend. And then they both stopped. They both couldn't hear it after that,
Right.
like they were being lured. And of course, the voices in the woods thing is a age-old claim. People hearing screaming or calling for help in the woods, and then suddenly disappearing, that kind of stuff. I don't know. It does seem to be a predatory kind of thing, but what are these crawlers then? Are they a multi-dimensional thing? It sounds like, as he was explaining, like it was like glitching, like boom, boom, boom,
Right.
kind of here, kind of not, and it was like phasing in and out, in and out, in and out. But as it did, it covered a great deal of distance in a short, snap of a finger.
Right.
And that's terrifying. I mean, that's like every horror story. It's like, oh, the lights blink out. Oh, God, it's suddenly right in your face. Just like boom, boom. And it's covered about 40 feet of distance. So I think these things, again, there are those that might say, well, it's just somebody creative writing because they've watched some horror movies and they've seen some stuff. But
Right.
I think that sometimes the horror movies take some of their cues from, claims that are out there. I think a good writer will do a lot of research first to find out what kind of creepy things people experience. Maybe it's just creative writing.
Right.
I don't know this person. I believe that there's merit to it, though. It's one hell of a story for just somebody that's bored.
Yeah.
With a lot of detail, and that compulsion thing comes up a lot. It comes up with black-eyed kids.
Right.
It comes up with, I guess, cryptids like these crawlers. It comes up with vampire stories. There's a compulsion aspect to that. I realize it's very Hollywoodized, but I did interview a person that claims to have come in contact with a vampire.
Yeah.
And I believe the guy. I believe he saw something, whether it's, quote unquote, a vampire or not, I don't know. But he saw something that appears to very much sound like what we understand to be a vampire. So, I don't know. There seems to be these, mind speak with Sasquatch comes up all the time.
Right.
A lot of people talk about that, right, Don?
Yep, all the time. As a matter of fact, Lorraine Warren
Yes.
talked about that. So, good, a solid experiencer has said that this happens. And then, of course, we have all the people that we've talked to. You're absolutely right. The anecdotal evidence for this is solid. It is a thing that seems to happen.
Right.
Absolutely. So mimicry is hallmark of these kinds of things. So whether it's a crawler that has the ability for telepathy, what's to say that's not true? What's to say
Right.
it just makes it even more scary.
Right.
It just does.
Now, we assume that it's a telepathy. It could be something else.
It could be empathic.
It could be an empathic impulse. Yeah. It could be a pathogen of some kind. And what I'm thinking about is those ants that get those fungus.
Right.
And the fungus takes them over.
Right, yeah.
And will eventually and certain worms that will get into the intestinal tracts of those praying mantis.
Right.
They will, basically take over the mantis and will eventually cause it to go into the water, and then it will be able to hatch it, itself from there, and then emerge and then go infect something else. And so there's all kinds of hallmarks in nature for this, and mimicry, like Don was mentioning. Look at the insect world.
Yeah.
It's rife with mimicry.
Yep.
And there's butterflies that look like birds. There's insects that look like sticks. This is something that's constantly utilized naturally as both a defense and as a predatory aspect. So I think if we do see such things demonstrated in nature, and so is it impossible that there's a higher organism that would utilize some of these same traits or tricks or methodologies, or could? I'm here to tell you, I believe telepathy is very, very real. I believe that I've experienced it. And I know that we are energetic beings, and as such, we think our thoughts are only in our heads.
Right.
But there's technologies right now that exist where they can attach a few electrodes and apparently get an idea of what you're thinking about, which is absolutely terrifying, because there's a sanctity of having your own thoughts and your own feelings, and not sharing them with everybody around you. But what if there's other technologies we don't know about? So I don't know. There's a lot to kind of unpack with all of this, but it's a compelling story. I'm actually very interested in hearing part 2. I wish we had more time tonight because I'd love to read it. So you're going to have to come back Friday night for that one, because you and I, Don, you'll be back Friday, right?
I plan to be.
Okay. Let's see where we at. 42. So we got 47 actually. So we got about
freaking hot on Friday.
Friday. Yeah, it's supposed to be up to north of 100.
Yeah.
So it's going to get roasty toasty up here in the Pac Northwest. But we do have time for some other things here, and I'm going to get to Sasquatch Chronicles. There's a short one. I guess maybe I should do this one. Yeah, that I could do 2 short ones here. It's kind of interesting.
There you go.
Again, special thanks to Lon for letting us use Phantoms and Monsters and talk about the stories there. And special thanks to Wes as well. A lot of people know about the podcast, but they should know that Sasquatch Chronicles is actually an incredibly interesting site full of amazing stories that are not all just Sasquatch related. But let's get into a couple of these. This one is from July 27th. Again, SasquatchChronicles.com from the blog. Mysterious red glow appears over Pacific Ocean. And a mysterious red glow above the Pacific Ocean as internet sleuths fishing for answers. What do you think it is? From a cockpit 31,000 feet over the ocean, pilot Dustin Maggard saw and photographed a mysterious red glow below. I had no idea what we were looking at, he said. We were making jokes about being in the middle of some sort of military exercise or some sort of alien invasion. Once the photos and short video made it to the internet, the guessing game began. The theories ranged from an undersea volcano erupting, a UFO, and most popular theory of all is another dimension called the Upside Down.
Oh my goodness.
From Netflix TV show Stranger Things.
Gosh.
Neil Jacobs, a weather modeling expert, gave the most likely explanation, which is itself a pretty strange thing. They were commercial fishing vessels that were fishing for Pacific Sauri? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that word. Using very bright red arrays of LED lights, he said. Lights like these attract the mackerel like sauri the fishermen were hoping to catch. And Jacobs entered the flight's location and date in the globalfishingwatch.org and was able to see fishing vessels by name. On the video, you can see what appears to be one vessel turning its red lights on. You can literally see them from outer space, Jacobs said. The glow can even be seen from the International Space Station. If you thought there was something fishy about the red glowing photos, you'd be right. All right, let's check out the video.
I'm sorry, that just doesn't seem right, but you know, it apparently it's okay.
All right, let's see what it looks like.
Strange red glowing lights observed from commercial flight.
All right, so how long is this video? 2:31.
But from 31,000 feet, that's a lot of light.
That's a lot of light.
And is that cloud cover?
It looks like these are
cloud cover.
They're way above. I mean, they're
so
above
are they shooting those lights straight up into the sky?
No,
they'd be showing them down.
But would that reflect off the water surface and
That's
possibly?
a hell of a reflection. Right?
Yeah, well,
They're
is.
not lasers, for God's sakes. They're LED lights.
Right, but it is curious. I just want to see the actual footage here, and there it is. There's the glowing that they captured. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it would take 5 or 6 craft if there's 5 or 6 sources. Huh. I don't know.
I can't believe that that's just LED lights that are reflecting off water and then through the clouds at 31,000 feet. Now the plane was at 31,000.
Yes. Yeah.
The clouds could be 2,000 or 3,000 feet off the ground.
Right.
However, through cloud that thick, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even when you're in an airplane, you're at 30 or 40,000 feet. You look at cities, and those, of course, are very bright white
and they
lights.
look like dots like that.
Yeah, they look like pinpoints, and certainly not these big masses. I've never claimed to see. There's the actual footage. I've never seen a city illuminate the clouds like that when I've flown over, but usually it looks like a dark curtain for the most part when you're at night flying. But I mean, it's an incredible piece of footage. I don't know. I do agree. That one turned green. Do you see that? Or at least white. I guess it's possible, but I don't know. That just seems hard to imagine.
It's a tough one to swallow, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it went back to red.
Like Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie. Right. There you have it. So strange red lights on the Pacific. I know that flying over the Pacific takes forever.
That's pretty large.
I've done it a few times, and
haven't you?
Yeah, it takes. You're on there for you're on a plane for like 14 hours. It takes a long time to cross the Pacific.
I've been on a train for 20 hours.
That's a long time on anything.
Yeah.
Even in this chair.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the article from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Very interesting. I don't know. I never would have guessed it would be a fishing vessel. I guess it's possible. I don't understand the dynamics at work there. So
Ruger says you can fish like that, but you shine a spotlight on a deer and everybody gets mad. It's true. It's true.
It's kind of a good point, I guess. All right, let's go to one more from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and this one is from the 21st of July, the Mogollon Rim Encounter. I don't know if I read this one before. I may have, but we're going to read it again. All right, so it says, I'm a wildlife biologist and worked several zoological parks over the years and participated in several field expeditions unrelated to Sasquatch. A colleague of mine actually told me about your show a few years ago and told me about his personal encounter in Washington State some 15 years ago. I began to take the concept seriously after listening to your show and looking into the paleontological history of hominins, and have become convinced these creatures exist. So much so that I published a book speculating on the possibility of it as a biological species. Recently, I purchased land up in the northern Arizona and have been spending my days fishing in the Mogollon Rim. I've never been a fan of tourist fishing sites and prefer to find isolated locations, and I can never catch anything when everyone and their mother is partying by the lake. Several fishermen in the area tipped me off to this creek that you could follow for miles and fish all day without seeing another person. Well, I decided to go to this area and followed the creek for several miles into the woods. And there were some signs of hiking trails, but they weren't maintained, and I suspect they were used primarily by the Forestry Service. Anyway, the area is really only accessible on foot. I followed the creek and would fish wherever I saw some fish. The water was very clear. I was also playing music out loud on my phone. After a few hours, I decided to head back and had about 2-hour walk through the forest to get back to my Jeep. At one point, I noticed the forest went silent. I wasn't thinking Sasquatch. I just acknowledged it and thought it was weird. I continued my walk out, and at one point got my lure and fishing line all tangled up and stopped to try and get it fixed. Fiddled with it for about a minute and said screw it and continued on. A few moments after, something large comes barreling through the woods on the opposite side of the creek and stop. We haven't had any phone calls anyway. That's weird. Must have disconnected. Okay, well, let's get back to the article. So it says, I looked over and couldn't see what it was, but I saw a bunch of foliage moving from just being run through. I would have written it off as a deer, but then it vocalized. It was 100% primate in origin. Sounded like a deeper howler monkey communication and then warped into a softer sound. I believed it was a territorial call of some kind. I stood still for a minute, hoping it would peek out at me, but nothing happened. I slowly continued on watching behind me, but never heard anything else. I don't know if it was following me or not. I was very uncomfortable for the next hour until I finally got close enough to the start that I saw an amateur hiker. I've attached a photo of the area for perspective. And I don't see the photo, but very cool. Yeah, I think they're out there, folks. Are they so primate that they would sound like a howler? I guess. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about mimicry.
Mimicry. Yep, absolutely.
But how would it know what a howler sounds like?
Well, probably not that specifically, but is it, I don't know. I guess people sound like primates sometime too, so I guess
Karen!
Yeah, could be. Well, I don't know. Interesting though. Thank you to Wes Germer for letting us use these for the shows as well. I appreciate it.
They seem to be pretty okay.
They seem to be all right. Like, you put some love into it. But I'll tell you what, folks, this has been the production of the Paranormal Portal. And I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you to all of you who joined us and are hanging out with us. Thank you to those of you that continue to come back day after day. And
we still don't know why.
We
like it, but we don't know why.
Yeah, sorry if some of the show got a little long on some of those articles, but I love those long stories because they're robust and they really do lay out a whole platform to understand the dynamics of what happened. I mean, he could have easily just said, "Yeah, kept hearing these growls and stuff," but I love the fact that the guy put all that time into laying down the groundwork for what was going on.
And the irony is, he wanted to keep it short. Said it right there at the beginning. I want to keep this short, but
there's no way possible. I'm going to make it long instead.
I'm going to make sure you guys know exactly how I felt.
So good to see you, 12 Pearls. Thanks for coming in when you can. But anyway, we hope you guys have a great night. I'm going ghost investigating tomorrow, and we will be back on Friday. So I hope to see you guys back here then. That's the plan. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on the YouTube channel. We'll be back to do it all over again, so we hope you'll join us. Remember to spread the word. Let people know about the shows. We'd appreciate your help in raising awareness of the fact that we're here doing these. And by all means, please check out the podcast if you haven't. Our podcast is a very different show from what we do here on YouTube.
Definitely is. And we've got, I think that last one we put up, I thought was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I actually enjoyed that one, so yeah.
With Vince?
Yeah, with Vince, yeah.
Yep, the astral projection episode just went up on Monday, so if you want to check those out, we'd appreciate your support there as well. Very different. Usually those are interviews talking to people who've had experiences, so hopefully you'll check those out and enjoy them, and there'll be more episodes coming all the time. So, but again, we do these live YouTube shows every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night here on YouTube. Please watch Paranormal Portal Radio page on Facebook for any announcements about the shows. If you're wondering when a show is going to happen or something, if they're not going to happen, generally I try to go onto Facebook and make a post so you know. So if you're not already following our page on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. Remember, you can reach out to us via email at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com if you want to be a guest on our podcast or if you got something to share and we just want to talk about it. So, Don, anything in closing?
Teespring. I think there's still 15% off if you use promo code OurFriends. With an S at the end.
All one word, right?
At the end. Yes, all one word.
All one word, Our Friends. If you want some portal gear, it helps us a ton. Thank you. A special thank you to our members here on the YouTube channel. We appreciate your support. And it really does go a long way to help us keep the lights on and keep this happening and growing. So,
absolutely.
But that's all we got time for tonight. Just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Even right now is good. All right. That's it for us. See you guys later and see you Friday. See you on Friday.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.